Good morning, students. So today we are going to start with the matrix methods of structural analysis. So the structural analysis can be broadly classified into displacement method and force method. In the displacement method of analysis, displacements, that is rotations, vertical displacement, horizontal displacement, etc., they are taken as unknowns, and in the force method, forces are taken as unknowns. Now, under the displacement method, we have slope deflection method, moment distribution method, Canny's method. Then what we are going to study now under the matrix method is stiffness matrix method. In the force method, we have consistent deformation method, theorem of three moments, and under the matrix method we have flexibility matrix method. So under the matrix method we are going to study the stiffness matrix method as well as flexibility matrix method. Let us see how to formulate the stiffness matrix method. The basic principle or the stiffness matrix is actually the matrix formulation of the slope deflection method. So let us pass on to how to derive the stiffness matrix from the slope deflection equations. Okay, we'll see how to derive the stiffness method from the slope deflection method. For that, I am considering a continuous beam, two-span continuous beam A, B, C. Of first span I1, L1, and the moment of inertia of the span is I1. Second span BC of length L2 and its moment of inertia I2. So, in order to analyze by slope deflection method or the displacement method, first step is to identify the degree of freedom of the structure or kinematic indeterminacy. So the first step is the degree of freedom or kinematic indeterminacy of this structure. Kinematic indeterminacy is the number of possible independent displacements in the structure. In this, the unknown displacements are, this is theta x, rotation at A, theta b, rotation at B, and theta c, the rotation at C. So the degree of freedom for this structure is 3. That is, the unknowns are rotation at A, B, and C. So after the analysis, first step we will be arriving at the unknown displacements. So that is the basic principle of displacement method. First of all, identify the degree of freedom of the structure. Now let us write down the slope deflection equations. Slope deflection equation is MAV, let it be subjected to some general load, say W per unit run. So MAV is equal to fixed end moment FMAV plus 2EI by L into 2 theta A plus theta B. I will open the bracket and write it down. 4EI1 by L1 theta A plus 2EI1 by L1 theta B. And we know the equilibrium equation, being a hinge or a simply supported end, the moment at that point is equal to 0. MA is equal to 0. So first equation. The first slope deflection equation. Next, coming to this joint B, you write MBA is equal to FMBA plus 2EI1 by L1 theta A plus 4EI1 by L1 theta B. Now coming to span BC, MBC is equal to FMBC plus 4EI2 by L2 theta B plus 2EI2 by L2 theta C. Now combining these two, we have this equilibrium of this joint MBA plus MBC should be equal to 0. So combine these two, we can write FMBA plus FMBC plus 2EI by L1 theta A plus theta B. There are two terms, so I can combine it together. 4EI1 by L1 plus 4EI2 by L2 theta B plus 2EI2 by L2 theta C is equal to 0. So this is the second slope deflection equation. Now coming to the third equation, moment at C, MCB is equal to FMCB plus 4EI2 by L2 theta C plus 2EI2 by L2 theta B, and this being a simply supported end, the moment at C is equal to 0. So this is the third slope deflection equation. So now I have rewritten that slope deflection equations, equation 1, 2 and 3 in a matrix form. Let us check the first equation, 4EI by L1 into theta A plus 2EI L1 by L1 into theta B is equal to minus of FMAB, or minus of FMAB plus 4EI by L into theta A plus 2EI by L into theta B is equal to 0. The second equation, 2EI by L1 into theta A, 4EI1 by L1 plus 4EI2 by L2 theta B, 2EI2 by L2 by theta C plus FMBA plus FMBC is equal to 0. So the above equations 1, 2 and 3 are written in a matrix form. Now this matrix is known as the stiffness matrix K, and this displacement vector, unknown displacement vector is D, is equal to P, and this is the stiffness equation. K into D is equal to P, and the terms of the stiffness matrix, these terms, you check it, and these terms are called the stiffness influence coefficients. Kij is called stiffness influence coefficients. The right hand, this vector is the unknown displacement vector. The right hand side vector P is called equivalent joint load vector. Equivalent joint load vector, and normally it is negative of the fixed end moments. Negative of the fixed end moments. So K is the stiffness matrix, D is the unknown displacement vector, and right hand side vector is called the equivalent joint load vector. Now coming to the properties of this stiffness matrix, we can see, looking into this, the first property is it is symmetric. See, if there is 3 degrees of freedom, the size of the matrix will be 3 by 3. So the different properties, one, it is a square matrix of order n, where n is the degree of freedom of the structure. Here the degree of freedom is 3, so the size of the matrix is 3 by 3, it's a square matrix. The second property is it is diagonally dominant. Diagonally dominant means all the diagonal terms are comparatively larger when compared to the off diagonal terms. So first row 4a by L1 diagonal term, it is greater than this off diagonal term. In the second row, compared to these two terms, this diagonal term is larger. So it's a diagonally dominant matrix. And the third property is it is symmetric. See, if you consider diagonal, the elements are symmetric. If this is 0, this is 0. Okay. So third property is it is symmetric. And the last property is it is a banded matrix. Call it as a banded. Banded matrix means the elements will be clustered around the main diagonal, and most of the elements away from the diagonal will be equal to 0. When we deal with large size problems or degree of freedom of the order of say 100, most of the elements will be arranged around the main diagonal, and the off diagonal terms away from the diagonal will be 0. And this is called the banded property, and the stiffness matrix will be a banded matrix. So let us define what is stiffness influence coefficient. The stiffness influence coefficient Kij are the elements of the stiffness matrix. So if you want to formulate the stiffness matrix, we have to arrive at the stiffness influence coefficients, each term of the stiffness matrix. And the definition is, it is the force induced at coordinate I, the first letter. The force induced at coordinate I due to unit displacement at coordinate J. There can be n number of coordinates. So if you apply a unit displacement at the second coordinate J, what is the force induced at coordinate I? At that time, one special condition is that all other displacements must be arrested, or all other displacements must be 0. There should be only displacement at coordinate J, and all other displacements must be arrested. So that is the definition of stiffness influence coefficient. Now let us see how to arrive at the stiffness matrix based on the principle of stiffness influence coefficient with a numerical example. I am going to illustrate the case of a two-span beam similar to the one which I have discussed. A beam A, B, C. Assume both the spans AB and BC, say same length L, and both are having the same moment of inertia I. Now you are given the coordinates. Coordinate 1, coordinate 2, coordinate 3. In matrix method, the most important thing is the structure. It can be split up into different elements. So the structure ABC can be viewed as an element AB and element BC, assembly of two elements. And each element will be having two nodes. So the element AB is having the first edge A, we call it as node 1. The second edge B, we call it as node 2. And this point C, we call it as node 3. So the structure is having three nodes, node 1, node 2, node 3. And the displacements as well as forces will be considered acting at the nodes. So the coordinate 1 means it's a general term. Also displacement is a general term. If we mark a rotational coordinate, the corresponding displacement will be slow. If we mark a coordinate like this, that represents a horizontal displacement. If we mark a coordinate like this, that represents a vertical displacement. So coordinate 1 means the slope at A or the rotation at A. Coordinate 2 means the rotation at B. And coordinate 3 is rotation at C. You are given, so these are the degrees of freedom for the structure. A continuous beam like this, the 3 degrees of freedom are 1, 2, 3. To develop the stiffness matrix, based on the principle of stiffness influence coefficient, or we call it as the physical approach. We view the structure as a whole. We apply unit displacement at one coordinate direction. At that time, all the other displacements must be arrested. So what we have to do is, first we apply unit displacement at this node 1. I am applying d1 equal to 1. At that time, you arrest, that means you fix it. You did not allow it to displace. Node 2 and node 3 must be fixed. They should not be allowed to move. So when we give unit clockwise rotation here, the structure will reflect like this. So the slope at this point is theta A is equal to 1. At that time, theta B is equal to 0 and theta C is equal to 0. That is the concept. So to apply unit displacement in the first coordinate direction, at that time arrest the other two displacements. You know, from the slope deflection method, when we give unit slope here, the corresponding moment formed here is 4ei by L into theta A. The moment developed here is 2ei by L into theta A. So when we give unit slope at one point, the bending moment developed at the first point is 4ei by L into theta A. The bending moment developed at the other end will be 2ei by L into theta A. When theta A is equal to 1, this moment here is 4ei by L and the moment here is 2ei by L. So in order to produce unit rotation here, a moment must be induced whose value is equal to 4ei by L. If we know the cross-sectional area of the beam, we can calculate I. If we know the span of AB, we can put L. If we know the material out of which it is made, this entire term. If you want to make this end to rotate by 1 radian, what amount of force must be applied there? So 4ei by L is the moment induced here, 2ei by L is the moment induced here. There will not be any moment induced here. 0. So according to the definition of stiffness influence coefficient, you apply d1 equals 1, K11 is force induced at coordinate 1 due to unit displacement. Displacement is a general term, or here it is unit rotation at coordinate direction 1. I write it node 1 or at coordinate direction 1. So this is the definition of stiffness influence coefficient. The force induced here in this particular case, force means we are applying rotation. So the corresponding force is moment. The moment induced at this point, that value is 4ei by L. So the stiffness influence coefficient K11 is moment induced at 1 due to unit displacement at 1. So it is equal to 4ei by L. Now K21 is force. Here it is moment induced at coordinate direction 2 due to unit displacement at coordinate direction 1. That means the second point, the second coordinate direction, what is the moment produced? Here the moment produced is 2ei by L. I'll repeat once again. K11, moment induced at 1 due to unit displacement at 1. K21, moment induced at 2 due to unit displacement at 1. What about this K31? K31 is moment induced at 3, moment at coordinate 3 due to unit displacement at 1, at coordinate direction 1. When we apply unit rotation, what is the moment induced here? That is equal to 0. So that will form the first column of the stiffness matrix, K11, K21 and K31. Okay, now to form the second column of the stiffness matrix, we apply unit displacement in coordinate direction 2. That is, we apply unit rotation D2 in node 2. We apply D2 is equal to 1. Give unit rotation here. So it is clockwise. This beam will go up. So this here also, when we give clockwise, so this will rotate like this. So this is the deflected shape. When we give unit rotation at this point, with reference to this goes up. Here also clockwise, this comes down. So when we give unit rotation here, the moment induced is this particular point for the span BA. For the span BA, the moment induced at this point will be 4 EI by L into theta B. Since theta B is equal to 1, the moment is 4 EI by L. At the far end, the moment induced will be 2 EI by L. Similarly, considering the span BC, the moment induced at point B is 4 EI by L into theta B. Theta B being 1, it is 4 EI by L. The moment induced at the far end is 2 EI by L into theta B. Since theta B being 1, it is equal to 2 EI by L. So by giving unit rotation at point B or at the second node, the moment in the first coordinate direction is 2 EI by L. Moment in the second coordinate direction is sum of these two, 4 EI by L of BA plus 4 EI by L of BC. The moment induced in coordinate direction 3 is 2 EI by L of BC. Now we write it in influence coefficient K1, 2. That is force induced in direction 1 due to unit displacement at 2. When we give unit displacement at 2, what is the force induced? Force is here moment. The moment induced in direction 1, that value is 2 EI by L. K22 is force induced at 2 due to unit displacement at 2. When we give unit displacement at 2, what is the force induced here? So that will be 4 EI by L of span BA plus 4 EI by L of span BC. Since here I and L are same for both the spans, this will be 8 EI by L. Now coming to this, K32 is moment at 3 due to unit displacement at 2. Or the moment produced here, that is equal to 2 EI by L. So that will give you the second column of the stiffness matrix, K12, 22, K32. Now coming to the third column of the stiffness matrix, we give unit displacement. Apply D3 equal to 1. Give unit displacement in coordinate direction 3. The moment induced at the first point will be 0. The moment here will be 4 EI by L, and at the far end it will be 2 EI by L. So writing it, K13 is moment at 1, or the force induced at 1 due to unit displacement at 3 is equal to 0. When we give unit displacement at this point, these 2 points, there should not be any displacement. If they are allowed to displace, there will not be any force. Only when the movement is restricted, force will be developed. So K13 is equal to 0. K14 2, 3 is moment at 2 due to unit displacement at 3. K23 is the moment here. It is 2 EI by L. And K33 is moment at 3 due to unit displacement at 3. That is equal to 4 EI by L. So now we have derived the third column also of the stiffness matrix. Now we will arrange it together. Now we will arrange the values in an order. The first column, by applying D1 equals 1, what are the values we have got? 4EI by L, 2EI by L, 0, K11, K21 and K31. By applying D2 equals 1, what are the values we have got? 2EI by L, 8EI by L and 2EI by L. Now applying D3 is equal to 1, 0, 2EI by L, 4EI by L. So this is the stiffness matrix for this given structure with the coordinates 1, 2, 3. Let us check whether it satisfies the conditions of a stiffness matrix. It's a square matrix. Okay, it's a 3 by 3 matrix. 3 coordinates are given, so it's a 3 by 3 matrix. It's a symmetric matrix. Check 2A by L, 0, 2A by L. So the second condition is a symmetric matrix. The third one, it's a diagonally dominant matrix. That is, the main diagonal terms are larger compared to off diagonal terms. See, 4A by L. So this term is 2. Here, 2 and 2. The main diagonal is 8A by L. Here, the main diagonal is 4A by L. So the stiffness matrix satisfies its properties: symmetric, square, and diagonally dominant matrix. So this approach of deriving the stiffness matrix based on the principle of definition of stiffness influence coefficient is called the physical approach. Or we also call it as the structure approach. When the size of the structure is very large, when you can deal with multi-story buildings, the degrees of freedom will be of very high order. In that case, this physical approach or the structure approach is not easy to formulate the stiffness matrix. So the physical approach can be adopted only for small problems for which maximum degrees of freedom is limited to say 5. More than when the degree of freedom is in excess of that, the physical approach is not an easy way of doing the or arriving at the stiffness matrix for the structure. So when we deal with stiffness matrix for structures having very high kinematic indeterminacy or degrees of freedom, we go for element approach. Okay, we'll illustrate one more example how to arrive at the stiffness matrix for a given coordinates to make it more clear. Okay, now I'm going to illustrate a second example. I'm considering a cantilever element. A cantilever with moment of inertia I and length L. The degrees of freedom for a cantilever, the possible degrees of freedom is the moment at descent, the slope 1 and a deflection. Slope and deflection at the free end is the degrees of freedom for this. So it is marked as coordinate 1 is the slope, the coordinate 2 is the vertical displacement at the free end. How to develop the stiffness matrix? As we have discussed earlier, apply D1 equals 1. You give unit rotation in this coordinate direction 1. At that time, you should not permit it to move vertically downwards. Apply D1 equals 1. What is the moment developed here? It is 4A by L. The moment developed at the far end is 2A by L. So there is a total unbalanced 4 plus 2, 6A by L clockwise moment in the structure. So to balance that, there will be a vertical forces or couple of magnitude 4 plus 2, 6A by L is the moment. divided by the span. 6EI by L square will be the reaction here, and 6EI by L square will be the reaction at the other end, or the forces will be, these two will equal and opposite will produce an anti-clockwise couple. Just remember, if you want to produce anti-clockwise couple, left down, right up. Okay, this is what happens when we give unit rotation at this end. A moment of 4EI by L, 2EI by L at these ends, and vertical forces 6EI by L square downward and 6EI by L square upward. So now let us write based on the definition of stiffness influence coefficient. K11. K11 is force induced in direction 1. Forces corresponding to direction 1, it is moment. Moment at 1 due to unit rotation at 1. That value is 4EI by L. K21. The definition of K21 is force, two direction is vertical direction. So force, vertical force induced in direction 2 due to unit rotation in direction 1. So direction 2 is a vertical direction. So what is the vertical force developed in that particular node in the direction of 2? That is K21. The force developed here is 6EI by L square. The direction 2 is downward, but the force developed is upward. So it is minus 6EI by L square. So corresponding to coordinate direction 1, the force is 4EI by L. Corresponding to coordinate direction 1, the force developed is 6EI by L square. It is opposite to the direction of 2. So I have marked it as minus 6EI by L square. So next is we apply D2 is equal to 1. D2 is equal to 1 means you give unit vertical displacement downward at this point. At this node you give unit vertical displacement downward. At that time there should not be any slope. That is I have marked here. There should not be any slope. It is fixed. So it will rotate like this. So when this can be viewed as similar to the case of settlement of support. When the right support sinks down, the moment produced is 6EI delta by L square. When delta is equal to 1, the moment developed here is 6EI by L square. We can remember one way. When the right support sinks down with respect to the left, the moment is anti-clockwise 6EI by L square. Otherwise, using the thumb rule, this was the original location from B to A. This point comes down. So turn the pen in the direction. This was the original direction. Turn the pen in the direction in which it comes down. So anti-clockwise. So the moment here is anti-clockwise moment 6EI by L square. The same moment, anti-clockwise moment will be developed at the far end also. So there is a total unbalance of 6EI by L square plus 6EI by L square, 12EI by L square. So to counteract it, we have to produce a couple. A clockwise couple should be produced. For a clockwise couple, left up and right down. Left up and right down will produce a clockwise couple. 6 plus 6, 12EI by L square is unbalanced, divided by the span. 12EI by L cube will be the reaction here, and 12EI by L cube will be the force produced at this end. Now coming to the definition, we can write K12 means force induced. K12 means force induced in coordinate direction 1. Coordinate direction 1. So that means a moment. So this force means what is the moment? Moment induced in direction 1 due to unit displacement in direction 2. When we give unit displacement in direction 2, the force developed or the moment developed in direction 1 is 6EI by L square. The direction of 1 is clockwise. The moment produced is anti-clockwise. So we write minus 6EI by L square. Now coming to the second term, K22 is force induced in direction 2 due to unit displacement in direction 2. Unit displacement in direction 2. What is the force induced in the direction of 2? The force induced numerically, it is 12 EI by L cube. The direction of 2 is downward. The force is also produced downward. So it is plus 12 EI by L cube. Now we can write it in a matrix form. So to form the stiffness matrix, there are two coordinates, so it will be a 2 by 2 matrix. The first column is obtained by writing the values what we got for dy is equal to 1. 4a by L, 6a by L square. 4a by L positive, 6a by L square is minus. The second column is formed by writing the values which we obtained for d2 equal to 1. So the moment is 6a by L square minus and the force is 12a by L cube. So we can check. It's a square matrix, 2 by 2 matrix. It is symmetric and it is diagonally dominant. Always remember the diagonal elements will be always positive. The diagonal elements will be always positive. What is the reason? When we apply a displacement, the force has to be developed in that direction or vice versa. When we apply a force in horizontal direction, it will be in horizontal movement. When we apply a clockwise moment, the displacement will be clockwise rotation. So always force and displacement will be in the same direction. So K11, K22, if there is K33, all these diagonal elements should be always positive. Okay, so with that, I have illustrated the concept of stiffness influence coefficient and how to develop the stiffness matrix based on the principle of stiffness influence coefficient. And this is called the physical approach or the structure approach. And it is not easy to formulate the stiffness matrix for large size structures or structures with many degrees of freedom. So we will be going for the element approach, which will be discussed in the coming videos. Thank you.